I don't mean to brag, but this morning I drank my coffee with one hand. Ooh.
Ladies and gentlemen, sit back and enjoy
Mega Meeple!
Greetings and welcome to the Mega Meeple. This is episode 99. Yeah, we're one episode away from the big 100. Yeehaw! Ever wonder if I actually would really get to this point? I did. Anyway. Yeah, this is, the Mega Meeple episode, season, I think it's episode 5 or something of season 4, and we're continuing on with our, Fireside Chat, Shoot the Shit series, and I really don't have, much to do a color commentary on, this episode, other than the fact that, next time is going to be our 100 episode. So, yay. So anyway, who's the guest this week is Elizabeth Davidson. So without any further ado, let's get to that little chit-chat conversation right now. Welcome back to the Mega Meeple. Continuing on with our little fireside chats that we're doing. Yeah, we have with us sort of like the foremost authority on solo games, Elizabeth Davidson. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm great. How are you doing today? I don't know if I'm the foremost authority on solo games, but I'm gonna take that for now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I've always known you as like the solo game person. So, but yeah, doing all right. We're recording rather early in the day today. I'm usually not out of bed until another 3 or 4 hours from now.
Oh gosh, you don't want to know how early I wake up.
But
I'm like, I get up at 4. I'm ready for my afternoon nap in a couple hours.
Oh, yeah. See, 4 a.m. is usually the time I'm actually going to bed.
Oh no.
and then I'll, but so I have my coffee here. So we'll see how weird this episode is. It may take about 10 minutes for my coffee to kick in, but I knew at least I was going to be out of bed before 10 a.m. Basically because I have to get up about 2 or 3 times anyway to take a piss. So I knew I was going to be up at least before then. It's like, so I was up at maybe 8 o'clock this morning. I was like, okay, do I stay up or do I go back to bed and risk falling asleep and absolutely missing our appointment here? Because I had my little alarm set up on my phone, but we've had hurricanes come through here, and I slept right through them. So I really can't rely on myself to really hear things when it's unless it's a knock on a door. If it's a knock on a door or someone yelling my name, then I'll spring to life.
See, in some ways I envy you because even if I don't set an alarm, I don't set an alarm. I just wake up early. I keep teacher hours. So even when I was in college, I had to be careful about how hard I partied because my body would still wake up at the correct time in the morning, no matter when I went to bed. And that was horrible. But
Okay.
my students hate me in first period because they're like, "Why are you so happy, Dr. T? You know, it's 7:22 in the morning." I'm like, "Hey, everyone, salvete omnes," and they're just like, "Oh no, no, no."
Now there was a time where I never set an alarm, and that was when I had a cat. I could always rely on my cat to wake me up.
Oh yeah, I mean, you did set an alarm. You got a cat.
Yeah. So, but and I've I've often there was a few times where I would be awake, but I'd be feigning sleeping. You ever have like that? You have this awareness of sort of like your space,
Yeah.
and I'd have my eyes closed, and then I would just have a feeling that okay, I could feel the cat right there in my face, and I kind of crack open my eye a little bit, and the damn cat would just I would catch her just ready to she perched her paw up like this and was just ready to almost like because she likes to bat me in the eye.
Oh no.
So there's a few times where I've caught her just kind of just preparing and ready to strike, and it's like it's like all
That's
right, yep, all right.
terrible. No, I'm Harley's pretty polite, but my other cat, Kato, he can sense when I'm even thinking about coming back to consciousness, if that makes sense. And he
Uh-huh.
will jump up on the bed and he likes to pull at my shirt sleeve, like of my pajama shirt. Just
Uh-huh.
pull, pull, pull. And what he wants me to do is get on my back so that he can on my chest and neck and just like lie there and purr for a while, which is actually really cute. But he will absolutely decide that it's 2:30 a.m. cuddle time.
uh
But
well, that's
he's so cute.
yeah, well that's yeah, that I would prefer that to the just the manning zooms that occur around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, just running around and chasing
Oh
whatever it
yeah.
is.
My downstairs neighbors probably think that I have an elephant.
My upstairs neighbor, I think is smooth because this past week I hear the maintenance crew up there cleaning and whatever what have you, but they had 3 dogs, and I swear they'd have like wrestling matches with those things up there.
Oh dear. But I don't know. I try to forgive people their pets just because I love mine so much that it's like, well, it's irritating, but I'd rather you have your dog than not. I really love my cats. Honestly, being home with them during isolation has been great.
Mm.
They are going to be so mad when I go back to work like a normal person because to them, this is like the best occurrence in the history of the earth. And they don't want it to stop.
Okay. So these memes of these pets and cats trying to get their owners to get the hell out of the house that doesn't speak to you guys, not to your
No, if
situation.
anything, our podcast will be interrupted by Kato scratching frantically on the office door. They do not like to be shut out of anywhere. They want to be everywhere I go, you know, bed, closet, shower, office, anywhere. The cats will go.
uh, there's a family I used to stay with that had they have 5 cats, and I from time to time I house sit for them and take care of the cats, and there's at least 2 of them that always kind of want to sit on my lap or sleep with me.
Hmm.
And all right,
Cats don't care. That's their thing.
that's,
I had to show. I'm really glad that I've like got the second bedroom in my apartment where that's actually my office and I film in here
mm-hmm.
because I can now finally at last leave games set up on the table and just keep them out of here. So that's good. I've been able to leave Mage Night up for like 2 weeks because the cats can't get in here, can't destroy my favorite game. So
Oh wow, yeah, that would be a thing. I know when I think I did I talked about a my thoughts on the first edition of Everdell, and they had like the small wood token, twig token things, but
Yeah.
they were round and they were number one they would roll all over the table. So if you didn't have like a gaming table with a recessed play area, those things would roll off the table. And yeah, I could imagine with anybody who had any cats, you know, you'd have to move your sofa out from the wall to find any of those tokens because you won't see them ever again.
Oh, I know. Um, I actually have not played Everdell. I have it. I actually I went all in on the last Kickstarter they did with
Mm-hmm.
the Spirecrest and Belfair expansions. So I'm excited to get to it. I just haven't played it yet. Am I going to be happy when I open this box?
Uh,
Other than the squashy pieces that go everywhere?
it's my. uh, I think you like it. I think you like it. It's a game that I mean the artwork is beautiful, but it's not just a pretty face. There's some neat things. I mean, if you start off just playing the core game, and you can even add the Pearlbrook
Hmm.
um, thing to it as well. Pearlbrook is one of those expansions that just it doesn't change the game too much. It just adds an additional resource you could go after. So it kind of expands the resources you could get.
Nice.
Uh, so yeah, play the core game for a while. Get a sense of what the strategy is and what your approach to it would be, and then add the Spire Crest and or the Belfair. The Belfair one is actually more of a aesthetic edition. There's I mean they have some stuff in there that you could add to the game, but
Right.
there's some other things in there that are just things you could sort of like the Everdell tree. There are things that you could add that just makes the game prettier, I guess. But
Yeah.
the Spirecrest one is the one that starts to throw some monkey wrenches into the core game, and that doesn't get it more complicated. But if you're a really good familiar Everdell player and you played the core game enough, there's like, okay, this is you got like a rhythm of what you're good to do and what you're going to go after and stuff like that. The
Hmm.
Spirecrest expansion would force you to rethink those approaches and strategies because it starts limiting what you can do at what season you're in.
Nice. Were you like a big Watership Down person? Or did you ever read like Redwall?
No,
All the cute animal books?
no, I haven't.
Yeah, I actually ended up going for Everdell because I just couldn't resist it anymore. It's giving me strong Redwall vibes. My favorite children's book series. I guess they're children's books. Yeah. Brian Jacques um, wrote a whole series called Redwall about this adorable abbey that was staffed by mice and rabbits and badgers and otters and
Oh,
I remember reading those books as a kid and just really loving them. And I read a ton of them until it kind of got to where they all felt like the same book. You read like a whole series, and your appetite for it is so strong. You read them and read them, read them, and you're like, wait, ooh, I should stop here. But they were so good. They were very charming, and I'm kind of hoping to get that nostalgic vibe off of the game.
okay. Yeah, yeah, I think so because there's like I said, you got the meeples that are all like different shape. You have your worker meeples, and then you have your little frog ambassadors, and
Oh,
the frog ambassadors only go to the Pearl Brook.
right.
That's pretty much the only thing that they're allowed to do. I guess if you send a chipmunk or something to the brook, they'll drown or something like so. So I guess thematically you send the frog over to deal with those. Um, and then when you get up into I guess into the Spirecrest, you get to introduce bigger meeples like a moose or I don't know. I mean the compared to the regular meeples, I mean they're the other animals are those meeples are much larger, and you can put like a little saddle on them and put your meeple worker on it, so you get like a you know a bird riding on top of a moose or something like that. So
Oh,
it's
that sounds kind of awesome, actually.
it's pretty neat. Uh, so have you with the animals and stuff? Have you played Mice and Mystics?
You know what? I have. Mice and Mystics is one of those games that I actually do not like very much, but also
No,
can never get rid of.
really.
Mechanically, I don't love it, but the story is so cute. The world that it creates is so cute, and also it's one of the very few games that my boyfriend will play with me when I can get him to play a game. So it's not going anywhere because if it makes him happy, we're gonna play it.
Okay,
That's how that goes, you know.
all right.
I mean, I, the game reviewer, am of course the one with perfect taste, but but I also enjoy having a boyfriend who will occasionally play games with me. So,
Okay.
well, we'll make concessions.
There you go. Yeah, I like the little story time thing that they have, and the little miniatures and stuff. I think are pretty cute.
Yeah, have you read Mouse Guard?
No.
Oh, it's a really cute comic about. I mean, it's about little warrior mice, Mouse Guard. You know, it's. I really got. I clearly enjoy reading literature about anthropomorphic animals, so I also enjoy games that have anthropomorphic animals, or plants. If we're talking about Mr. Cabbage Head's garden or something.
Okay. Have you seen that movie Zootopia?
I
Is that
have.
the name?
I have seen Zootopia. That was cute.
Yeah, I thought that was a cute. It's incredible how they could do these animations, and just with the facial expressions and stuff, you could how they're able to emote and do all the things that they do and express. But yeah, I thought that was a cute and funny movie.
Oh yeah. You know what's interesting though is I like that you mentioned the animals emoting because that's actually something that was lacking in the live action Lion King. All the animals look so realistic that they didn't have the cute facial
Uh,
expressions that the Disney cartoon had from like my childhood.
yeah.
And I remember thinking that was weird that their emotions actually didn't show in their faces as much because they were going for the realism look.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I like
Yeah.
that Pixar cartoony vibe.
Well, I'm still working. I got Disney Plus, so I've got pretty much all the except for Hulu. Think I got pretty much all the streaming services, but I'm still working through the Mandalorian. So I
Oh, the
got that.
Mandalorian's so good. I'm also super pumped. Did you read that Disney Plus is going to release the movie version of Hamilton a year early and as a Disney Plus exclusive?
I saw that. I saw
I have
that.
not seen Hamilton. I want to see it so bad, and now I'm going to get to see it. I'm actually really excited.
I think it came through Charlotte here. I seem to remember sometime last year. Last year, some of my friends on Facebook was hooting and hollering about, oh, I got tickets and stuff like that. So so it's going to be like a video of the stage production, or are they making a movie out of that?
From what I understand, it is an extremely well filmed version of the original cast stage performance.
Okay, all
I could
right.
be wrong, but that's the impression that I've gotten from various news articles that I've just perused, thinking about, oh, what will I watch next in July? Obviously, it's going to be Hamilton. I'm actually really excited about it. I like musicals. I haven't seen like every musical ever or anything, but I have really good memories of going with my mom when I was younger, and the ones that I've seen I really liked. So,
Mm. I think there's only been two musicals that I really was able to get into, and that is Little Shop of Horrors
oh yeah, yeah.
and My Fair Lady.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed that one too. The other ones is like I I was I'd be like, I mean, I like music and everything, but and I used to do stage plays and improv theater way back when I was able to remember lines.
But improv, you don't have to remember lines.
No, but you have to be a quick thinker, and that's something that I'm. Those days are behind me.
I don't know if I ever had those days. So
But it's just the melding of theater and music. um, I don't know. I always had like the perception is like, why why are they singing their lines? I don't get that. I can't understand the words. I think that was what it was. Is that what the way they were singing is like, what are they
Yeah.
saying?
Although I have to tell you, so I haven't gotten to go since college, but I used to really love cheap opera tickets when I was a college student because you would just pay like $20 for the ticket. You show up and you get some great seat that nobody took and you get to see the opera from usually a really good vantage point. So my friend Anna, my college friend, and I used to just go to the opera all the time. It was so fun.
Hmm.
And operas range from like very dramatic to very silly, and they just print subtitles for you, so you don't actually have to know the French or the German or the Russian or whatever.
Hmm.
But I have really fond memories of it, and everyone, and I can't find anybody to go with me now because everyone's like, "Oh, opera," but it was actually super fun, and I would absolutely do it again. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Is there
It's
is
the stories that make it good.
okay? Yeah. It seemed like opera to me at least a while back was I mean it was very highbrow to me. Um,
Oh, I am not a highbrow person at
and
all. Like I'm overeducated, but I am not highbrow. So like my favorite opera that we went to see was Falstaff, and it is, God, is it the Merry Wives of Windsor? It's like a Shakespeare play that is, I think it's, I don't know. It's a story that happens consistently. This gross dude decides to hit on multiple women by sending them the same like "Hey baby" letter, but two of the women that he decides to try to court know each other, and so they're like, "I got this letter," and the other woman's like, "I got this letter," and they're like, "Let's mess with him," and they just completely like prank him, and it gets really ridiculous and it's fun. And I remember really enjoying the translation because like at one point in the translation it pops up, "I'm beginning to realize that I've behaved like a jackass," and it was just awesome. Actually, in Latin and Greek too, there's the stuff that you teach to high schoolers, but college level Latin and Greek poetry can be absolutely filthy. And when I was thinking about the academic pathways I wanted to take later, I actually thought about either writing about dirty Greek poetry or writing about like I ended up getting a PhD in ancient Christianity, but I really love just inappropriate ancient poetry. No, the things that seem really highbrow often are not.
all
There's always some filth in
right.
there.
Yeah, I think one play that I did was uh, Romeo and Juliet, and I played if I remember correctly, I played Romeo's father,
Okay.
whoever that guy's name is. But even that is like that was probably the hardest play I've ever done, just because the the, the syntax and the expressions and verbiage and stuff. I guess I mean it was really an active participation of remembering lines and stuff like. And the director was like, "Okay, say it faster, say it faster. You have to keep it going. Say it faster, say it faster." It's like I'm too busy thinking about what I'm saying. I can't go to the speed that you want me to. But
Yeah. I remember reading Romeo and Juliet in high school, and now I think about how disturbing that play actually is. It's like, wow, we're teenagers who think we're in love. Let's kill ourselves. Like,
mm,
what? Oh no, this is a terrible play. Um, it's really interesting how when I was younger and I read it, I was like, these people are a little overdoing it, don't you think? And then now as an adult, I really think about it, and wow, the
mm,
kids were not all right in
yeah.
Verona.
uh,
um,
so what grades do you teach?
I teach high school, so I teach grades 9 to 12.
Okay.
Next year, I'm going to have mostly ninth and 10th graders because my schedule's all Latin 1 and 2. I'm actually really excited about it, though. I like having the babies because you're their first Latin teacher, and you get to show them all of the exciting things to come. And then, like you're the one who's responsible for getting them pumped for the next couple years.
Oh, okay.
So I really like being in that role. I like to think I'm good at it, but you never know.
Yeah, well, I guess you're finding that as you said you were grading papers earlier before we started recording. It's like you find yeah
Ugh.
you find out who paid attention and who didn't.
Oh, I make them pay attention. That's the thing. You have to work very hard not to pay attention to my class. We do not have desks. I only have chairs and lap boards. So there's no reason to have anything in your lap, such as a phone,
Uh,
because you're supposed to be talking to everyone else in Latin. I play a lot of games. I make them do stuff. They get irritated and say they don't like it, but then they totally like it. Um, my favorite game to play with them when I'm not feeling super active is it's called Marker Knife Fight. Okay, it's not actually called Marker Knife Fight. That's what I call it. Some people call it the highlighter game, but who wants to play the highlighter game when you can play Marker Knife Fight? But basically, I just put a bunch of words in Latin, like in like a word cloud on a page. The kids each get a highlighter or a marker, and they face each other like 2-on-2. I'll say the word in English, and whoever can mark the word first on the page in Latin gets the point. So they're basically stabbing at this page with their highlighters, and they get so
oh.
worked up about it. It's fabulous. And even when there's one word left, I'm like, all right, guys, do you want to just do it for fun's sake? And they're like, yes, yes. And they're like ready to stab each other with these highlighters.
Get that. Yeah. Get that competition coming out of them.
Oh yeah, kids are very competitive. I'm also very competitive. I've had to work on that actually myself, so I enjoy having it come out in like a fun way.
That's good. Maybe 20 years ago, I would have had the patience to be a teacher. But yeah, I'm right now. I think I'm in the season of it's like, you know what, I'm retired. Nah, sorry, that sounds too much like work. Forget it.
Well, you know what the weird thing about being a teacher, and it's actually the part I didn't expect, is that they don't tell you how much you're gonna love the kids.
Hmm.
Like, you really do love those little gremlins. Like, they're horrible sometimes, or they're mean, or they act ridiculous, but you just love them. And, it's weird. It's like it's suddenly all this trauma that you go through every day by being constantly like harangued by teenagers, you just forget by the next year because all you remember is how much you like them, and it's like, oh, this next year is gonna be great. There's like a little honeymoon period for a couple weeks, and then by October you're like, oh, damn
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to remember now.
it. What have I done? But like now, I'm collecting finals and kids are sending me thank you messages and like, what a great year. We miss you. We can't wait to see you
uh,
next year. And then like you're like, oh, I love them. And then we'll go back. No, what did I do?
so are you do with the whole quarantine thing? Are you having to do like online stuff or?
I am. So what I hate about that actually is that not all of my students have consistent access to the internet, and we cannot have like, I expect you to be on Zoom at X time for class. We have to put work online with as many resources as we can and hope that they use what we posted. I do not like it, but it's better than nothing. One thing I have been doing is I make little YouTube videos because I know how to make YouTube videos. It's actually a skill that's come in handy. I have a good microphone, so I can actually make videos for the kids, and I put them on, and I do little screencasts of me going through the stories and different, little
Hmm.
live sessions if kids want to come on and ask questions, and I'll leave that up for kids who couldn't make it. Um, I record audio tracks and have them do listening exercises with what I recorded. Like, for one set of students I like recorded a description of like a weird animal, like it has 3 arms, it has this and that. And I, recorded the MP3 and put it up and asked them to draw it and send it back. Just trying to do
Huh.
something that's not another Google form.
Yeah.
But I'd really rather be in the classroom. I'm actually an introvert, believe it or not. I really need a break from other people.
Yep.
But I do like people, and I have a little bit of a entertainer streak. It's just that I get really tired out. So I'm actually doing great in terms of my own emotional health during isolation because I don't need to see anybody to be happy. I'm just like, well,
Right.
I'll read a book today. I'll play a game today. I'm having a great time. Um, but I'd really rather be at work. I don't feel as productive or as happy because I like to contribute to society.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And the kids can't do it without face-to-face teachers.
And I'm the same way as far as like being an introvert. It's like I, uh, Yeah, but my lifestyle really hasn't changed so much from before. Now being in quarantine, but I think like I was me and Board Game Inquisition was talking. One episode was like, well, you like to stay to yourself, be at home, and you don't need to go out. But the fact that you're always able to go out, that's fine. But now that there's this, shelter in place thing, now that we can't go out, now we want to go out and be around people. It's like, you just, like the forbidden fruit type of thing. You want what you can't have. And it's like, so, well, so I've done pretty well as far as, you know, staying in. I got
Hmm.
I'm happy my happy my therapist does FaceTime sessions. So we got that little thing going on every week or so. But
Yeah. Oh god, I hate talking over the phone though. So like mine was like, oh, phone therapy, and I'm like, oh no, this is not helping.
mm,
It's harder for me to do it without some sort of face to face.
yeah, and when I contacted her, I was first thinking, it's not like over the phone thing, and I thought, well, I've taken enough, psychology courses to know that they could pick up on a lot of things just by facial expressions.
Hmm.
So it's like, well, do you have FaceTime? I think FaceTime would be more, you know, beneficial to you as uh, a therapist to be able to s- hear what I'm really saying
Yeah,
versus what
yeah.
I'm saying.
Like the classic, yeah, do it while shaking your head. Oh man.
I'm doing fine.
Ah. Yeah, I mean, I actually really am doing fine, but the reason I'm doing fine is because I'm lucky to still have a job and my
Mm,
boyfriend's still working. He's working in he normally worked in the day program for adults with developmental disabilities in a school district. But he's in a group home right now, moonlighting until like the day centers and stuff open up again.
oh,
But he's working, I'm working, and I have to tell you, like, we're lucky. We're so
mm,
lucky. So many people are having so much agony right now economically. I'm a big believer in staying home and being safe, and I think we are opening things up a little bit too fast.
yeah.
But I also understand why you would want to go back to work. I do, because you're sitting there thinking, what am I supposed to do if I can't pay the rent? I'm going to end up on the street. Like it's hard. It's so hard. And I don't know. I wish that we were more compassionate to each other through all this. I don't really watch a lot of the news. I just get a little update overall because I just can't stand to get into too much detail about it these days.
Yeah, I've stopped watching the news. I think if anything, I'll watch a video of North Carolina governor doing his little daily thing about what North Carolina is doing as far as COVID-19, and it's like, all right, well, so if I think of all the news, that's probably the most. I think that's
Hmm.
the most I need to know right now. Uh,
Yeah.
Everything
Although, oh my
else,
goodness, I forgot you were in North Carolina. I used to live in Durham. I had my first teaching job in Durham, North Carolina.
okay, yeah.
I really miss Atomic Empire. Now that is a game store. That was a very
I
fine FLGS. I did not know how good I had it. I love my game store here too, but Atomic Empire is so big and magical.
Yeah, here I'm in Charlotte, so we got about within like an hour's drive. I think there's a good half a dozen um, gaming stores. There's one called the Rebel Base, but that's more of like a cards trading
Yeah,
cards type thing.
like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a bunch of comic books and anime uh, books and stuff like that. But as far as like you know board game, modern hobby board games and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a I'd say at least four or five easy that you could go to, and each one has caters to its own um, And I don't want to say this like a cliquish thing, but you tend to see the same people at the same stores, and
Yeah.
then there's very little I don't know, crossover. I mean, in the sense of loyalty and patron loyalty and stuff, that that's great. But there's been particularly in tournaments when I used to do those that and that's why I don't do it anymore. I think the last tournament I was doing was Star Wars Destiny uh, cards, and it was like I just had a bad experience on one of those. I was like, you know what, to hell with this. So I sold all my decks and cards and stuff. It's like, okay,
Ah.
I've tried CCGs. I can honestly say that I gave it a try, and it's just not for me. I'll stick with the living card game model.
Yeah, you know what? I actually really used to love playing Magic the Gathering in grad school. I had a friend that I would play with, and he and I would just kind of play kitchen table Magic. We just build decks of whatever we found, have crack a pack Friday. And we had such a good time. And I was thinking about, I played it a lot. I looked at decks a lot. I started reading Magic the Gathering news a lot, and I really wanted to play more seriously. And then I thought about how much money that was going to cost.
Mhm.
And then I bought board games. No. But actually, I do credit Magic the Gathering as it's a really good thing that happened in my life because my interest in deck construction made me buy the Lord of the Rings
Hmm.
LCG, and that was my first solo game, and it's how I became a solo gamer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it launched like a whole new thing for me. I really appreciated that I had that experience because it led to this. If I had never played Magic the Gathering, I probably wouldn't be doing what I do now.
Hmm. A friend of mine that I briefly mentioned earlier with the his family, his couple has the five cats. Uh, his wife is from Texas, so sometimes they'll go to Texas at like ReaperCon or someplace like that. And he said there's a game store that used to be like a Harris Teeter size grocery store,
Whoa.
and they bought the property, converted it to a board game store. He said the one wall on the one side is the whole thing is nothing but magic cards. And he's like, yeah, you could go on and of course they have the more expensive ones under glass, but yeah, he said you get just about any card or any deck there just because it's like the whole milk section was that whole thing along the one wall was nothing but magic stuff.
That's kind of awesome. I'm actually from Texas. San Antonio is my hometown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what? I definitely share with other Texans. Everybody who's from Texas that I've ever met, including myself, really loves Texas and loves being from Texas. I mean, politically, I don't usually agree with what's happening in Texas, to be real. But I loved growing up there. I loved going to school there. I miss the food. Like you just can't eat as well anywhere
Mm.
if you've grown up on food from Texas. And I'm always looking forward to going back. Actually, one of the things that makes me really sad is that there's supposed to be a national convention for language teachers in San Antonio this upcoming fall. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. I can stay with my parents. It's really near the convention center. I'll get to see family and have a professional meeting. And I'm guessing that's probably not gonna happen. What a bummer, man. I really, but San Antonio is a great town to grow up in. Honestly, if I could take my current job, which I love, and I'm not leaving, you'd have to pry it from my cold dead hands probably. If I could put it in San Antonio, then I'd be perfectly happy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think the closest I got to Texas was I lived in Oklahoma for about 7 months,
Oh, boo. You know
and
why North Texas is so windy, right?
uh, I could
Because Oklahoma
imagine.
sucks. That's why.
it, I I lived in some little uh, spitball cow town. Now we did have a Walmart, we did have a McDonald's, uh,
Man, y'all were rolling.
so it wasn't totally backward, but it was a real small town. We had like two or three Mexican restaurants, 2 liquor stores. Um, yeah, but there was nothing to do out there other than work and drink. And I'd go out my first few months there. I'd go out with some of my coworkers, and it not necessarily just a Friday night. We'd go like on Wednesday night, and they called it we're going to choir practice. It's like, okay, well,
Oh, you mean like how teachers have book club?
Is it when you kind of basically hop from one bar to the next, and you go to like 3 of them in one night?
I'm not that hard, but yeah, maybe something like that.
Okay. So we basically go there, and then Thursday morning I see these people at work, bushy-eyed,
Yeah.
and just ready to go. And it's like,
That's crazy.
that's
You know what's interesting is it's not for lack of I mean, I have no issue with it. I'm just not really a big drinker. I almost don't drink. It's I would probably be really bored in that town.
I mean,
Actually, I never get bored though. I always find something to entertain me.
Yeah.
It's easy when you're a teacher. I mean, you're never bored. You can be tired, not bored.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, if you're into the rhythm and experience of keeping all these kids' attention, then yeah, I can see that.
Man, it is really hard to compete with cell phones. It's almost impossible. Like, the number one classroom management thing is phones. And the thing is, I get it in some ways because, I mean, everybody's hooked on their phone. The kids are kids. They're just normal. They're going to want to contact each other. They want to message their friends and be kids. So it's not that I think that phones are evil or anything, but God, I wish I didn't have to have them in my classroom because trying to pull kids back, like there is no one, like the real issue I think all teachers have with cell phones is that none of us is charming or compelling enough to beat that. It's just not going to happen.
How does that cross over to phones at a gaming table?
I sort of feel like if everybody's an adult, unless somebody is constantly unaware that it's their turn or like really, really tuned out, I don't really think it's a big deal. If people have business or I'm always checking my emails, I like to know if I have an email or if I got a text from my boyfriend because usually game night is like my night out,
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I'm aware of what's going on with my phone. I try not to be too hooked on it. I really only get irritated if somebody's totally zonked out. Or like you can't do it during the rules. Like you just can't.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I just well, what are you doing? Well,
although one thing that I have learned as a teacher is that first off, people learn at different paces. Like you can say something that you think is the most clear explanation in the world, and there will be someone who does not understand. It will happen. People need you to repeat. People forget stuff, or like maybe they were concentrating on one part and they let another one slip because their brain just couldn't hold it all in that moment. I try to be generous because I have to be, I know how that is with kids. I don't really think that we grow out of that. I think that adults, even though you think, oh, you're an adult, you should be able to pick this up. This is just a game. Why can't you pick it up? I think that everybody's got their own pace. It's not really that abnormal to get confused. I try really hard to be patient. Yeah. I will get mad if I say like, these are victory points. And somebody points out, what are those? But I also feel like I have to, it's when I'm teaching a game, especially, I feel like it's my job to be really pleasant and patient, even if inside I'm not always feeling that way, because I want people to like the game. And I really think that your experience of games only is good as your teacher in a lot of ways. Like, do you ever learn a game from somebody and they get impatient with you because there's something that you don't get, like that you really just don't get? And they start to get mad, like, oh, I hate that.
No,
there's not like a blip in attention, but like, explain this better again.
No, I haven't had that. I've had just really poor teachers. Because I know the first time I ever played what is it, Seventh Continent?
Yeah.
It got to the point where it's like, I just gave up trying to learn the game because there were so many things left out. And I don't know if he was just not a good teacher or he just assumed everybody knew what they were doing. But it got to the point where it's like, you know what, I'm not even looking at the cards. I'm just going to take the card, pass it along. Oh, what card did I get? Oh, okay. What do I do with this? I don't know. But the second time I played it, I had somebody else teach it, and then it, the little light bulb went off, and I caught on. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there are definitely games that I don't like as much, and I'm not sure that it's fair. I think it's just that I wasn't taught the game well, but it's too late. Like I already have that bitter taste, and I don't want to play
Mm-hmm.
it again.
Yeah.
And I think that yeah, it's really interesting, like the experience of both learning a game and teaching it. Like when I learn from people who are too cranky, I get really like sullen. And I'm like, oh wait, I'm just like the kids. Oh Lord, I am my students. And when I'm teaching, I have to remind myself, because I actually am way more patient with kids than I am with adults. I am going to be probably a little snippier if I'm irritated with you and you're grown. And I have to sometimes remember, like, just because somebody's grown up does not mean that I can have this completely different set of expectations of them, actually, that might not actually be realistic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we would. I think go back to what we talked about the phones back when we'd able to go out to restaurants and stuff. If I was in a group of people, there was one particular group that I'd be with, and their policy was to everybody take their phone and put it down in front of them. Uh, and unless it's like an emergency or your babysitter is calling, or, the kid fell and broke his nose or whatever, if unless it's an emergency or something like that, the first person to pick up their own phone to do anything other than take an emergency call, the first person who did that was the one who paid the bill.
Ooh.
So,
I have I don't have it naturally. I have it from practice. I have the patience of a rock. I would wait. I was not born patient, but I've had to learn it.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So what? So being the solo monster of games, what have you found out? Have you found that you've been playing more solo games with or is like, are you pacing yourself through this whole quarantine thing as
I'm
far
trying
as
to pace
solo
myself.
games?
I'm trying to pace myself. I play some, but I've been playing Animal Crossing on my Switch because it's fun. I've been reading books. I've been doing teaching stuff, obviously. I've been doing a little writing. I've been, trying to keep my review pace about the same, but I don't want to push it too far. And actually, I've used this time to spend a whole lot of time with my favorite board game. I'd always wanted to do a Mage Knight series,
Mm,
and I'd never gotten around to doing it, and I finally started. So I did just a playthrough of the solo walkthrough, and then I've been doing these tutorial videos about how to do certain things in the game that people always ask about in the comments. So I've really enjoyed making those. That's like a thing I've never done before, and I'm thinking about, oh, what games would require that? That's really a neat process for me. I enjoy it. And then I'm thinking about whether I want to keep playing Mage Knight for a little longer or take a breather and do something different. Just because you don't want people to be like, oh, all she ever does is play Mage Knight on your channel. But
yeah.
like, given the choice, I mean, I really like to play Mage Knight. So it's been really nice to reconnect with my favorite game and just spend all that time and just let myself indulge in ways that I normally don't. I
Mm-hmm.
think the hardest thing about reviewing games and I don't really like the word content creator because content just sounds like filler to me. But I guess, board game media. Being board game media, you feel the need to cover a lot of games because that's what your audience wants. People are hungry for the next game. What are you covering next? Will you cover this? Will you cover that? Are you reviewing this? Like, you can't review the same game twice. And so there's a pressure to always be doing something new and always be forging ahead and like, well, I've done this game enough. I have to stop now and do the next thing.
Mm,
And I really like getting to just sit with a game that I wanted to play and I enjoy. For me,
yeah.
feels really good.
That brings up a good point. Is like when you review a game, do you approach it differently versus when you're just gonna play it for for fun?
I don't know if those are separate processes for me anymore.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm always getting ready to review. The other thing that's interesting though is that I actually think I must drive publishers crazy because I sit on my review copies for a while. I'm not a very fast turnaround reviewer, but that's because actually I don't necessarily think it's good to be a fast turnaround reviewer. Most of the games that you see my reviews of, I've played a lot and I've had it around for at least a couple months, preferably more if I can get away with it,
Hmm.
because I don't want to just play it twice and tell you my first impression of the game. So my pace is already a little bit weird, I think, because I don't allow myself to feel that rush to cover, 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 cover. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And slowing it down even more does feel. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm doing it wrong, but I don't know if you can do it wrong. You just have to do it your way.
Right. Right.
But
So
my way is the slow walk way. I like to really take my time and kind of chew on a game for a long time before I'm ready to review it.
yeah, yeah. Unless it's like I think there's been one or two games where it's like, okay, I'll. It's one of the first things I'll look at and review is the rule book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, let's look at the rule book and blah blah blah. All right, this rule book is confusing. It's shit. It says, okay, that's the end of the review. Because if the rule book sucks, this game is not going to get to the table very often, if at all. So
Yeah.
okay, so my grade on it is, you know, I'll give it a
F
D.
minus.
D.
No.
No,
I
okay, the artwork is pretty. I'll give it a D. You know?
You know what though? I can't disagree with you. I don't think that there's an excuse any longer for there to be a bad rule book. There are
Mm,
people that you can hire who will do a good job on your rule book. It's the first thing that players see. And I love services like Watch It Played is great. Rodney is awesome. Paul Grogan does good work with gaming rules, and there are videos where people will teach you the game. But I don't think that you should be relying on that. I think that you need to have a good rule book, and if you don't, go home,
yeah,
because that is the first real impression of your game that someone's going to have. And if you don't care enough to look good for the first date, why am I going to go on 50 of them?
yeah. Yeah, if you play test your game, play test your rule. I did a segment on Board Game Breakfast about that, where it's like, okay, there's some phases that for a good rule book to have to pass through, and number
Yeah.
one is I should be able to read the rule book, forget FAQs, don't call in a friend and answer from a friend, no BGG supplemental stuff, no videos. I should be able to learn everything I need to know from the rule book. And even if, there are some things in the game that are situational, there should be enough logic in the rule book that, okay, even though a certain specific situation or event is not spelled out in the rule book, there should be some kind, at least a foundation in the rule book that I could reason and logic through. Okay, I think it would work out this way, that type of thing.
Right.
And then I should be able to turn to somebody who doesn't have the rule book and teach it to them. And then they should be able to take whatever I taught them and play the game successfully. Win or lose, they should be able to play through the game successfully.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I play a lot of coin, like heavier games where it's a lot harder to absorb the system and all of the little rules. But one thing I will tell you is that actually the rule books are pretty good. They're very clear. They have sections. They have an example of play, so you can read the tutorial and see like what people chose to do and how the moves work. So some games require more patience to absorb the rules. But if the rules are bad and I'm having to like really struggle, I mean, with Mage Knight, my only complaint is that the rule organization is not intuitive. Everything is in there somewhere,
Mm.
but you have to find it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. Let's have a good time. But like the walkthrough is great because if you do the walkthrough, you will know the basics of how to play the game. So I don't disagree that there should at least be some sort of walkthrough that communicates game flow. You should not be having a hard time understanding like how the basic structure of the game should be.
Right.
I mean, and on games that are simpler and just have bad rules, that just irritates me because I should have been able to like have this on the table, snap, let's go within 10, 15 minutes.
Do you, as a when you do solo games, do you find that sometimes if I play a solo game, I'll set it up and then I'll just kind of leave it there for a few days until I'm in the mood to play it again, because it's like versus when I know somebody's coming over. If I know I'm going to have a group of people over, I'll set it up and we'll play it right there. I
Mhm.
don't, but if I'm the only cheerleader I got to say, hey, let's play this game, I'm like, yeah, well, somebody, I don't have anybody relying on me to play this game right now, so it could be a week or so before after I set up a game till I, it's like, oh, okay, now I'm in the mood to play a solo game. So do you
Yeah,
do you have like are
usually,
you on your
yeah.
own are you your own cheerleader as far as getting the motivation to play solo games, whatever you feel?
I'm usually motivated to play. I mean, games just hang out on my tables all the time while I'm reviewing them. I tend to just kind of leave them out, come back, play again, come back, play again. If a setup was really agonizing, or if I am getting ready to film and I did the setup and then I just did not feel like starting the playthrough at that moment, I will not. Because if you don't feel it, it's just going to suck. And I think the great thing about being a solo gamer is that whatever your whims are, you have the right to play however you want to play without having anybody else's say in the matter. So if you get halfway through a game and you're like, yeah, this sucks, I don't want to play it, you can quit. You
Hmm.
can quit. That's so liberating. Like, have you ever met people who feel like they have to finish every book they start? Why would you do that? Life is limited. Like, I
Oh
only
yeah.
have so much time to breathe this air and do all the things I want to do. And if your game sucks, or if your book sucks, or if something isn't working for me, I'm not going to do it because I think that you should not torture yourself with obligation. Like, I'm a reviewer. I will play things through to the bitter end for the sake of a review. But if it's just for fun and like, usually if I set up a game, I feel like playing it, so it's going to happen. But if the mood strikes me, yeah, absolutely, I'll walk away because is there somebody watching me like, oh, Liz, you are not a true solo gamer. You walked away from that setup. How dare you? If anything, my cats will be glad that I had more attention for them. So,
I, yeah, I get like that with TV series where I'll watch I'll binge watch something till all hours of the day and night, but at some point I'll get like distracted, and months will go by and I'll go back. It's like, okay, well, I'm trying to remember. Number one, I'm trying to remember what episode I left off on and what was going on at that time that I stopped watching. Um,
yeah.
Now, unless it's like a good concise uh, series where it's like only 10 episodes or so, 10 or 12 episodes, like Orange is the New Black. I was able to watch one whole season within one day, because it's like I was that into it, I guess. But
Yeah.
other ones where it's like you know I forget what season I left off in Supernatural. Yeah, it's like I may have to go back and watch the whole series over again from the
Yeah.
pilot, just to be on top of things.
I feel like video games are like that too sometimes. If I start a game and it was complicated and I was really into it, then I stop, it's like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't remember where I was. I don't even remember how the controls work. Crap. Like, they need like a you've been away for a while tutorial for adults who have very busy lives. But what's interesting is I've noticed this. I've been really trying to watch some TV because I'm home and I don't really watch a lot of television generally. I mean, I watch Game of Thrones very intensely, and I'll
Hmm.
have shows that I really care about, but typically speaking, not really. And so it's really weird. Like, I haven't been finding very many shows that'll hold my attention for more than a few episodes right now.
Mm,
And if I take that break, I get locked onto something else, and I don't want to continue the show.
yeah,
And it's weird.
yeah, I hear that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for our little fireside chit chat. Appreciate
Yeah, it
you.
was super cool to actually get to talk to you. I mean, we've interacted online, but we haven't had a chat. This is really pleasant.
Yep, pretty cool. Now you have you talked about your YouTube channel and stuff like that. So if people want to find out more about solo gaming and how to play Mage Knight, where can they go?
You can come find me at Beyond Solitaire. So my website where I have game reviews is beyondsolitaire.net. My YouTube channel is Beyond Solitaire. And if you want to interact with me on pretty much any social media, you can find me as Beyond Solitaire. You can also see me as just Liz Davidson on the Dice Tower. I do reviews there as well.
Alrighty, cool. And of course, I'll have links to those things on the show notes of this episode. So thanks again, Elizabeth, and stay healthy, stay safe, and stay sane.
Thanks for having me on. It's great to talk.
Alrighty then. Well, thank you so much for smashing that download button. If you want to find out more about the Mega Meeple, just go to the website. That's www.themegameeple. All of our previous episodes are on the podcast page. If you want to follow me or reach out to me or bitch at me on my social media stuff, just go to the social media page there and go visit the YouTube channel. You can subscribe to iTunes, and you want to fork over $1 or something like that, you can go to the Patreon. All the links are found there on the website. So thank you so much. And sorry, I was about half awake, half asleep doing it. I was like, that's because we recorded that like at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. And my caffeine hadn't kicked in yet. So, but hey, what are you going to do? So, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time for our 100th episode.